Hey, what's going on, guys? We are live again on Monday. We took a little break on Tuesday last week, switched it off to Tuesday, but there was good reason to do that. But we're back in the swing of things, um, and why don't we just jump right into it?
What's going on, Kuya? Yes,
Good,
have
man.
Monday. Been an exciting couple days. Good weekend. We met up yesterday. A little cold weather hiking while we're back stateside. But this is your last week right here. So heading back down to Ecuador.
Yep, yep.
Consulate all worked out, which is good. So I mean, I guess eventually, if anybody out there is trying to get any contact, if you keep getting after the consulate. Eventually, you can get a hold of them. You can get an appointment and get your extended visa if you're going to be staying somewhere. Um, so you'll be heading out, which is great. I'm super jealous. I'll be still sticking around for the next few weeks, month or so. Just trying to figure out, like we talk about when and where, what the timing is, but it's getting close to planning time.
Mm,
Getting close to start thinking about planning time. The only issue is with latest Colombia news. Is Colombia looks like it's been having some curfews where they're actually doing something similar. I mentioned to you the other day. So if anybody's thinking about Colombia right now, they have been doing the curfews where only one member of the household, depending on who you are, drive another day, certain things like that. It was only slated for like a weekend or a week that they were going to be going that strict just to try and lock stuff down, bring their threshold down a little bit. Uh, but still something that's going on. I'm hoping that they're doing that just to really bring it down to prep to try and now that they have been starting to get some vaccine doses and hopefully that they are prepping for the fact that they're hoping to really reopen tourist attractions and bars and restaurants and everything for people to come visit. Because while they are open for tourism, I can fly right there. You could fly there right now. The amount of activities and things that is available for you are a little restricted as far as day to day life. So that's not really what I'm looking for me personally. And I know most likely that's not what you're looking for when you go and want to go and visit a place for 2 months at a time. You want to be able to get out there and really enjoy what the country has to offer. So be paying very close attention to that.
yeah, I mean it's a good thing. You know what I mean? Like I've been kind of distracted with a lot of other stuff, especially with this whole uh, getting my visa side of things. And there's actually a lot of confusion that I had with a rep, but I'll get into that a little bit later. And it's one of those things. It's a moving target, like as we talked about before, as far as being able to plan on going to some of these places. And because there's different rules that are being changed, kind of just day by day. It's difficult to really peg right away, like what we can do, you know, um, like to plan like 2 to 3 months in advance. Like, yeah, like you and I have, loose plans, but we haven't solidified anything. We haven't booked anything, you know. Same thing with when I bought my flight for Ecuador. I bought it uh, in the beginning of January. Usually I do like at least a month and a half, 2 months to buy my flights. But at this stage, I was like, I saw the flights and how cheap they were. That's when I purchased them. Not the best
Mm-hmm.
times or anything like that. Luckily for Ecuador, there's not any major issues right now as far as any restrictions. Like today was just a full day of just getting all the visa stuff taken care of. So I actually redid the PCR test. I did the Rite Aid one. What is it? Verily is the name of the company that does it. So it's a free scheduling, free test. And this time they were actually a lot more strict. I went to a different Rite Aid in Fall River. They were a lot stricter. They actually watched me, um, do the nasal, put the swab in my nose, and they're like, "Oh,
Really?
you got to move, like you got to move your wrist, the whole arm." I was like, "Really?" And that was very uncomfortable, but got it done. I had to wipe the button that opens up that tray where they take credit cards and IDs and give someone their prescription. this time around, yeah, you got to clean out the button so that just in case the next person, you know, does the test, they got a nice clean button to press, even though it's 20 degrees outside in the morning. But hey,
Yeah.
I'm not a pharmacist, so that was it. The situation that I'm running into right now with my visa, even though I have my visa, is that we don't know if I have 180 days or if I have 90 days on just the visa. So the representative told me, "Oh, you have 180 days, 180 days without a visa. Excuse me, 90 days without a visa and 90 days with the visa." So
Yeah.
I got confused
Cool.
because my idea, or what I thought was what was happening, was the start of my year to go to Ecuador was on September 14th. Now, so that means that I only have about 90 days. Actually, I have 99 days. 9 days without a visa and 90 days with a visa. And
Yeah.
it resets back in September. But the representative was describing that I have 180 days again. So
Are they
it
are
was
they
very
resetting
confusing.
annually?
I don't know. That's what I asked her. She goes, "No." And so we were going back and forth, um, trying to figure that out. She goes, and afterwards, she's like, "I don't know. You're gonna have to talk with someone. You're gonna have to talk with someone at the."
Usually that's over an entrance and exit period. It's not an annual calendar.
Yeah, that's what I anticipated, and that's actually I'm still gonna, in my mode, I'm still gonna just do
Treat
that
it that way,
instead,
right?
because
Yeah.
I don't wanna get lockstep, in the
I,
process, and then have
I
it come
mean,
back
that's
to
how
me.
how the like the Schengen and everything over there was as far as the rules and restrictions for Europe. I don't It's an easy game of the system. Like I go there for 90 days 1 year and then on January 1st it resets. I'm back for 90. Yeah, you're out for another 9 months and everything, but you can basically tandem them right together without the visa. That doesn't add up.
Yeah, like I said, it's pretty, like I said, it'd be great, like, "Oh, that's fantastic." That means I could stay until, September 14th, which, it sounded too good to be true, but without any documentation, I'm not gonna go by, a verbal conversation, with the
No,
consulate.
no, not at all. That's you'll go to fly and they'll be like, why are you still here?
Oh, but here's another thing. Here's a funny part. So I showed up. I was actually a little bit late because the metering machine, on the street ate my quarters and it was out of order. But it doesn't tell you that until you put in the quarters. So anyway,
Yeah,
so I go over there, try to get in the office, and the representative that takes care of the visa wasn't there. She showed up 45 minutes late.
awesome,
It was
nice.
it was it was one of those things that, like, in my head I go, "Oh, she's probably gonna be late."
I mean, what are
But
they even doing?
it's you know what? They're definitely running a skeleton crew, because when I was there, there she was the only one in the office, and then there were, like, two other employees. Before, there was the last time I was there, I think there might have been six people working. So they're definitely
Couple
running pretty
people
low.
left.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So again, kind of interesting thing. So far, everything's a go. I took the PCR test. I'm actually going to be posting. You and I talked about it before, about, like, getting the travel stuff squared away and getting a video out. So I'm going to do something in tandem. I already have it drafted out. I didn't get a chance to finish it, but I'm going to put out the blog on the process that I went through, so that people can know where to go if they're thinking about, staying extended stay at a different location. I would presume that a lot of places would follow kind of the same rules. So this would be very specific to Ecuador, obviously. But otherwise, I would presume that it's very close to, like, what other countries
Mm.
would be anticipating, for a visa. You know, it's pretty straightforward. I think a lot of it depends on how good the consulate is, with answering phones, emails, and all Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward.
Nice. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know what point I'll end up needing an extended visa. Most places, thankfully, the U.S. passport, most places you're good for going in for a good amount of time without a visa.
Yeah,
You get in most places 90 days without any questions asked.
yeah,
Just show up. Here you go. Here's my passport. You're good for 90 days, which is a pretty reasonable amount of time, especially if your list is very long of places you want to get to.
yeah.
90 days is a pretty good stretch.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a good appropriate time to get a feel for a place, but not feeling like you're completely pressured to move really fast. You know what I mean? It's not like taking a vacation. If you go to someplace for 2 weeks, it's like you're rushing to do every little activity and not really getting the chance to kind of just settle in and mellow out for a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're working during the week and everything, like even a month, if you're working regular during the week, that's a few weekends. It's even that's tough. That sweet spot really, it seems like the sweet spot for really getting to be able to see a bit of a country, get settled, enjoy the place, enjoy some extra activities with some long weekends and everything. Really seems to be around that like 2 month, 2 to 3 month mark, which most of the visas cover out of the box. So that's kind of great. And then, I mean, if you happen to want to stay longer, you figure it out early, start talking to the consulate, see about the extended visa, see what their rules are. Every place is a little different, so you have to research each individual country
Yeah.
as
So
far as what they allow.
one of the key things that you do have to take care of is getting a Cori check. This is for Ecuador. And again, I'll do a blog so that people can see it written out and all the links to all the resources and things like that. But one of the things that I did have to get is a Cori check. That costs about $26 here in Massachusetts, and you have to get it notarized, but you can't just get it notarized like a normal notary. What you have to do is you actually have to get this thing called an apostille, and the apostille actually validates that the person that signature that's on the Cori on the criminal record check is that person. So and they put a nice little stamp on it. They do like this nice formal thing, but they won't accept the normal notary. So and when you get the apostille, it's directed towards that country that you're going to. So if it's Ecuador, if it's Peru, they'll ask, oh, where is this apostille going to? And they'll say, you have to say whatever the country is, but you have to do that before you go. So if you're gonna
Yep.
anticipate, so anyone out there who's watching right now, if you guys are gonna anticipate going to a place longer than usual, it might make sense at least to get the apostille part taken care of beforehand.
Yeah, because you got to do that back stateside. It's not
Yeah,
like you could do that.
yeah, like you
Um,
have to do it at the what is it, the Secretary of State, one of the Secretary of State offices.
yeah.
In like I went to the one in Fall River on South Main Street, but you can go to any other ones that provide that service, and that costs $6. It's not that much. But like I said, if there's anything that you definitely need to get as a official document to get to the consulate, because you can go to the consulate in the country, but if you don't have that document that that validates that one little thing, you're not going to be able to do anything because you can get all the other documents presumably online. Uh, so that would be my advice as far as from my experience. With
Especially that's the one that you actually have to be in person for. Most of the stuff
yeah,
you could get sent,
yeah,
request
exactly.
them, maybe somebody forwards it to you, whatever. But that one, because you actually have to be in person there, you have to
Yeah.
sign it yourself, then yeah, you have to be stateside for it.
So just anyone that's watching, if you guys are planning to do a long travel and work away into a different place, and you're anticipating the possibility of staying longer than the length of the visa, which again, you have to be a certain type of person to want to do that. But try to take care of that stuff first before heading over to a different place.
Or I
Uh,
mean, you also have to you also have to kind of really like the place that you're at a little bit too. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for myself, it's a pretty obvious thing. It's like, no, I'm coming back to Ecuador. It's something
yeah,
that I plan in, throughout the stretch of the year, which I don't have to do right in the beginning. I can actually do that, later on. So, but yeah, so that was my little segment about the apostille. My experience going to the consulate, things like that, and otherwise, it's like I said, it's pretty straightforward. It's not a lot of work in itself, and then I think Peru has 6 months. You have 6 months, 180 days without a visa, and then an additional 90 days if you want to stay longer. So you can stay 3/4 of the year if you wanted.
wow. Hmm. What's Peru looking like right now?
I don't know, to tell you the truth.
As far as
Although
there,
although I still have that Cusco, when you brought up Cusco the last time, it was one of those things that I definitely would want to go back to because it's mountainous, great place to train at 8,000, 9,000 feet.
oh, absolutely. Yeah, if you want to go out for some high altitude runs, we'll say. Um, it's not super high, but it's around. Yeah, it was right 8,500 or so. Those workouts they add up. They're a little bit more, a little bit of running at that altitude and stuff. It's a lot harder. Um, yeah, you're just burning off calories just casually walking around. So definitely a place that would be very, very good to go and train on top of just being a gorgeous city. Great weather, great climate. Um, that mountain weather, I could easily, like I said it before, I could easily spend a month up there, um, just working and just enjoying the city. Nothing, not doing anything in particular. Maybe finding some stuff on the weekend, some hikes nearby, and that would be about it. Cusco was a great, beautiful, beautiful city.
Well, the great thing is the location. It's like, hiking anywhere or just walking around the city is like hiking because of the elevation.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so since we're talking about exercise, it's the new year. I'm sure a lot of people that are watching are in that New Year's resolution and trying to carve away some, some
Some
some of
trying
that
to
extra.
carve off some of that turkey. Yeah.
Yeah, carve off some of that turkey. And Cruz has been in a good routine. I think it's good to kind of touch base on that. Um, you know, I know we talked about it before, but I think it's good to be able to see where you're at. Earlier, before we started the video, Cruz was talking about um, what his weight was because he went to the gym today. So,
Oh yeah.
so I think
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing that everybody goes through, whether you're already, in no shape, moderate shape, reasonable shape. Sometimes that scale is not exactly an accurate reflection of where you are. Um, and it's, I mean, it annoys me too, just like it would annoy anybody else. Maybe you're just starting to get into the exercise routine yourself, and it's not something that you've been doing on and off for a long time. I get frustrated too, So I jump on the scale today. I'm expecting it to be down. I look at the number and I look at what I think I'm weighing based on get out of the shower, look at yourself in the mirror, just from historically what you think you should be at. Jump on the scale after the workout a little while ago, and I'm like, is the scale broken? What's going on with the scale? This doesn't seem right. So, I mean, overall things are changing. The diet's great. The workouts have been very, very dedicated. No cheating on the diet. Everything's perfectly in line. But those, the numbers just aren't quite lining up. But you just keep moving forward. It might be that stretch. You're putting on a little muscle because you haven't been working out as much over the past, few months or 6 months or whatever. So, if you're getting a lot of protein in, you really start growing that muscle. And, that weight to muscle ratio is kind of in that influx stage. So don't get frustrated, even though I'm frustrated with it. It's just part of the process. Just stick with it and just keep worrying about, more on the inches and just how happy you are overall than exactly just what that says on the scale.
Mm, mm.
Despite my annoyance. So I do completely sympathize and understand anybody that's out there and maybe just getting working out for the first time, that it can be a little frustrating, especially during that early stretch. It happens for everybody regardless. So just keep sticking with it. If you're doing what you should be doing, if you're keeping your diet in line and you're working out hard, then it'll come. Just give it time.
All right, so with the exercising thing, and again with the New Year's resolution, people can get frustrated. Let's talk about like what keeps you motivated. What keeps you motivated on a day-to-day basis? What keeps you motivated for that long-term goal? Like how do you how do you keep yourself in that frame, in that mind frame where you're able to continue doing something, even despite having those levels of frustrations kind of throughout the process, because those things do come about. We lose a little bit of momentum mentally, and then eventually, pick up somewhere. But let's what's it's a good way to just to share what you've been doing to stay motivated.
Yeah, my big motivation is honestly just staying active, staying in shape to be able to do all the stuff that we talk about. Being able to head out, and just pick up and just go hiking like we did yesterday,
Mm,
knowing that I'm going to be able to just grab my backpack and go for a few hours without any questions asked. Just, there's so much I want to do, so much that I want to be able to enjoy, that when I do get some downtime, because there will be stretches where, maybe it's not as easy to work out. Maybe it's not as easy to be on that diet, especially you get to a new place, you're traveling for a little bit. That first couple of weeks, you want to just be able to just enjoy yourself, let go, and really just relax and not worry about it. When I do have this down stretch like I have now and I'm stuck back stateside, it's a great opportunity. One, it's a great release for something to be able to get out of the house, go off and do right now. Even though a lot of stuff is restricted and 25% and everything at different restaurants, I have a gym here. I have a gym that I can go to. I can still get out, go out, burn off a little bit of that steam, get out of the house for a little bit on a day-to-day basis. So that's just a great release, just in and of itself. Along with it, something along with just like the routine and the motivation, just to try and give myself a good, solid goal to break up the monotony right now. It's wintertime here. It's cold. Stuff's kind of locked down. Of course, you need to be inside. There's not as many outdoor activities that would be a little more free range.
mm.
So it's just a combination of all that, just kind of, help the mood, help the mental health, stay active so we can go do a Lost City trek, come a stretch in Colombia, just all those different things. Along with, for me, I like staying at a general weight and fitness level. Just for me personally, I take a personal sense in pride in it, of staying at that particular level, and I plan on trying to keep myself there for as long as I can. Maybe I'm 60, 70. I say, you know what? I'm absolutely done. I'm not doing this ever again. I'm retired. I don't care. But I plan on keeping it up for absolutely as long as I can.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important things about exercising and staying healthy, because you know I think there might be some level of expectations maybe from the media that everyone has to look you know like Arnold Schwarzenegger at his prime all the time, and it's really not about that. It's really about the cycles that just kind of happen throughout life. But the important thing is really just um, having, at least at a maintenance level, at the lowest level, to at least always try to maintain a certain level of fitness, right? Because regardless of what it is, you always people still feel a lot better when they're even just putting a little bit of effort. It's like, if it's a half an hour walk, or if it's doing 100 push-ups twice or three times a week. It doesn't really require too much to stay in reasonably good shape and reasonably good strength. And it's one of those things. If someone doesn't have the routine of doing it on a regular basis, maybe once or twice or 3 times a week, again, um, not in any particular heavy goals, just for maintenance. It's one of those things where it's tougher to pick up or tougher to continue doing if it's not in the routine in the first place, right? So for me, it's always the best time to start is today. If someone talks about they want to exercise, it's like, no, just today. It doesn't have to be.
So just pick something, just go do something. And it's
Yeah.
not, and everybody's fitness or what you can or can't do is different across the board. Just measure yourself against yourself and against what like you're actually happy with.
Yeah.
It's not about like, I mean, let's be serious. All the stuff that you see out there for Instagram is one, they're getting paid to do it. Okay. All the stuff that you see, like they're getting paid to do it. A ton of them have personal trainers, nutritionists. Maybe they got the blessing of genetic gods, particularly that extremely helps them. Some of the guys, if you're looking at guys and everything, like I'm, I take a bunch of vitamins and multivitamins and protein powder, but I'm all natural. Like, I'm not on HGH. I'm not using any extra enhancers. A lot of those guys that you'll see out there, for gentlemen in particular, they're using some bonuses. Okay, they're not
Oh yeah.
necessarily they're not necessarily going about everything el naturale. I'm not saying that they might be doing it illegally. They might have a physician that is prescribing certain things to them,
Mm-mm.
but they're getting some bonuses in there sometimes. So just keep certain things of those in mind. If you get, hooked up a little bit on the internet and feeling a little down, and plus those photos are, a lot of those are photoshopped and extra baloney on there too. Don't get caught in those.
Yeah. Again, I think it has the part that I think is the most important is about feeling really good, right? After, like, when we went on the hike, every time you and I go on a hike, or even when I just go for a walk or something, I always feel so much better afterwards. And it's not overly strenuous, and it's like strength training. I like to think that strength training and endurance training, more cardio type of stuff, has a different kind of release for someone's, mental, uh, mental health. Like,
Yeah.
you can,
Hiking's that like hybrid endurance strength training.
yeah.
Like if you're hiking a lot, like you're gonna pack some size on, like especially if you're carrying a pack, even just like 20 pounds on your back, which is really nothing in your pack. I mean, whatever, you can get in the ultralighters and this and that, and they keep their pack super light. Listen, you got a bladder in there and you fill up a couple liters and you got full bag of trail mix and some other stuff with the backpack, you're at 15 pounds without trying.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you have that on you and you're doing some inclines, you got some reasonable ascents while you're out there and you're hiking a fair bit, like you're going to put some muscle on your legs. Absolutely.
And I want to add. So one of the ways that I've stayed motivated over the course of the years, because there's so just a little background. So
Huh.
we're in this group text with a bunch of friends, and I sent a picture of when I was in Peru, and I was in very good shape, probably the best shape of my life, right?
Yeah. So I'm also in this group text, and I
Yeah.
actually met up. That's when I met up with Kuya down in Peru when we went out there to Machu Picchu and went around a fair bit. And that was probably, that was probably the best shape I've ever seen you in the past 20 years. We're talking like, the past 20 years I knew him when he was 18, 19, and that was the best shape I'd ever seen you
Yeah, and I I have to you know I think that came from just being in elevation keto for so long, and then I walked everywhere. I wasn't doing anything particularly different, or I wasn't exercising, so much more than I was normally. But it was
in.
it
No,
was
you weren't on any special diet or anything. You were just doing your normal thing. That
yeah.
was it.
But but again, I think some of the advantages that came from it was from just being at elevation for so long and just, not having a car and stuff like that. But
The elevation and daily walking.
yeah,
Elevation and walking a couple miles a day. You're walking, say because if you would go out, say you're walking like 3, 4, and then some of the longer days, 5, 6, 7, 8 miles a day, like that adds up a lot.
yeah. I
Not
mean,
being sedentary and just moving around, simple, not even a working out, just casual, walking. It adds up a lot.
yeah, and it's kind of interesting because, like talking to John yesterday, and some of the things that he was talking about with his job where he missed being able to walk around. It's totally true. Like you just feel a little bit better when you can kind of move around a little bit and things like that. And like I said, there's a lot of like very simple things that I find that helps. Like I said, and I think the main motivation is just feeling good, right? Because I always kind of feel sluggish if I don't go for a walk, at least once a week, just to kind of break up the, get in front of the computer because I'm sure like most of us that are um, that work and things like that, most of it is just in front of the computer a lot of times. Maybe you engage with other people, but for the most part, you're at your cubicle or you're at home working. You're not really moving around a lot. So just getting that opportunity just to go outside, go for a little bit of a walk. Maybe you have a gym at your condo area. I mean, it's totally a good way just to break it up. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be all that crazy or strenuous. It could just be as simple as like, oh, I'm just gonna walk around the building, and that in itself is great.
Just to
So
break it up and get moving for a little bit.
yeah,
It's big.
and then on top of that, it's just just feeling happy, and like I was describing before, like the hiking. Every time I finish hiking, I feel really good. But if I lift weights, it's a different type of feeling good. I don't know if you get that way where if you lift weights like
I I feel much better after a hike, actually. Just overall, I don't know, that
mm,
like slow sweat endurance, just something about it. I feel better after like a really heavy, even with cardio at the end of like the weight session or whatever.
hmm
So say you're lifting a lot. It's a real great weight session. And then say you jump on and do 20, 30 minutes of, some cardio after for that, get that heart rate up a little bit, burn off at the end. I'm more like, honestly, after that style workout, I'm more like beat. Like it feels good, but I'm like done. Like
mm,
after the hike, you feel like kind of, that you get that minute to rest. You actually feel energized for a good few hours. Once that goes away, you're pretty tired and you're sleepy. But that stretch, you get that like once that like rest, you get that little rest period, you get done, maybe get back in the car, that little rest period, like you're feeling good. You feel alive for a good few hours. You got that little bit of a high, and then when it wears off, yeah, it's time for a nap. But it's completely different. I don't know if that's how it hits you, but that's what it does for me.
I know I find my elation, like I find that if I after a hike, I feel like I just feel really good for a longer period of time. Whereas if I'm lifting heavy, I feel like I get this explosive um, kind of energy or like
And
well
then,
not
then it's a crash. It's a
yeah,
little. I
yeah,
guess
yeah.
it's like a lift is more like a sugar high than like
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
you get way up and then it's like, and all my glucose is gone, poof, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, it's just like say I get that huge burst of confidence. You know what I mean? It's just a burst. Whereas hiking, it's that type of if it's the confidence part, it like just stretches for a longer set of time where I feel like I'm just feeling good. You know what I mean? It's like we accomplished something, but we didn't accomplish something, and I didn't feel like I wasted time. You know what I mean? Like with
No,
with hiking, I really feel like I'm very focused on the hiking and I'm focused on the in the moment. Whereas lifting, I feel like certain times because this is what I do. I don't know if you do this. Um, But when I don't feel like working out, I'll still work out, but I'll work out the body part that's the easiest. So it's
Okay.
so like for instance, I don't like doing back and pull ups, right? And it's usually the one I always keep like pushing off to the to the very end of the week, which
Yeah, yeah.
I typically try to do it in the beginning of the week. But because I don't want to do it, I end up just doing push ups instead because I'm like, oh, I got to do it, but I don't want to
Just
do
do
it.
something, right? Yeah, you
Yeah.
pick them. Yep.
Whereas like with hiking, it's like I'm looking forward to hiking and then the feeling afterwards. Whereas, I get like I said, I get that burst of confidence and oh like, oh crap, yeah, I did a lot of pull ups. But then afterwards, like, all right, yeah, whatever. It's
Yeah. It's different. No, it's absolutely a different. Both are satisfying, but they're definitely different highs.
yeah.
There's a bigger, for me, same. There's a bigger crash after the like a regular gym session with lifting and stuff.
So anyone out there that's watching right now, because we're talking about exercise, are you guys in that mode for kind of the New Year's resolution? Do you guys have a routine that you follow? Are you looking to get new ideas, or what's your motivation? Maybe it's beach
Did
body.
you did you purchase Peloton stock
Did
because
you?
they exploded?
Yeah, did you put
Yeah.
this Peloton stock? So there's we would like to know what you guys are into as far as with this whole exercise talk. I know I think it relates to the traveling thing, especially since Cruz and I like doing a lot of the adventure stuff. And have you guys gone out during the winter? Is it too tough because it's too cold? How for me but to believe it or not, I'll tell you guys this. This is a quick digression about the hiking, but it was cold outside yesterday. When we started, it was like 20 degrees, and when we were walking, I was already sweating. I was sweating a little bit. I was telling that to you guys. I was like, hey, are you guys sweating already? Because just walking through some of the pathways without any real elevation, I was already starting to feel it.
Yeah, if you're in the woods, I mean, obviously it changes based on your elevation and like the tree cover and the wind and everything. Actually, the wind is probably one of the bigger parts about everything, at least just for like exposed skin, right?
Mm,
Like it can be super windy, but if you're a little bundled up, like once you start moving, it has to be really cold outside for you to be cold while hiking.
yeah,
Like a lot colder than it actually gets here in the New England area. If you're out hiking, like, and you have enough layers on, and not even a ton. I mean, I had a dry fit tee, like a Patagonia long sleeve, and a nano puff, and I mean, after a little bit of moving, I'm sweating. I'm fine.
yeah. And, well, I think part of it too is I had so many layers compared to you and John,
You do.
because
You always have that extra layer there.
I don't know. It's just the paranoia, the paranoia that I have about that kind of thing. Is like I always like having a little bit extra just in
I
case.
mean, it's way easier to unzip than be freezing and not be able to deal with it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, really. I mean, the biggest thing, like once you have that stuff on, really the biggest thing is if you got a little bit of a mask for your face to help. Obviously you got a hat on and everything. You got a little bit of a mask for your face in case the wind is really moving, and some gloves. That's it. You're good to go.
yeah. It wasn't that bad at all. Like I said, I felt like once it was cold when we got out of the car, but once we started moving, it was like you know, I could barely notice the cold. It was just like I said, actually it felt very refreshing to be able to breathe.
A couple times, like after it was kind of hot. It was actually kind of nice when up on a little bit higher spots where it was a little windier. Some of that wind, while it was a little cool, it was actually kind of refreshing because I was actually kind of hot sometimes.
Mm. Now, someone told me about another spot too with a little bit more elevation, stuff that that can be climbed. But I haven't. I got to touch base with this person. But it was one of those things like, oh, it's not too far from Blue Hills. Might be something to do when we're all in the area and things like that. Obviously, we're open to people joining us out in the wilderness there, and we're kind of just shooting the breeze as we're walking through, and we actually did some of the same trails that we did last time, but we ended up starting on a different road. But we went on the skyline path that was there, and I don't know about you, but I felt like we did it a lot faster this time.
Overall, we were making pretty good time. Yeah. Yeah. We made it a long ways. We actually made it about as far east as you can go, and then had to cut up and then double back and everything to get back over to the trail. But no, we made great time. We covered a fair bit of distance. The lower trails are easy. The inclines are steeper but short, but they're pretty good. Good little straight shot. Power up them, get the blood rate going. It's a decent little spot.
Yeah. So for any viewers that are out in New England, or if you guys are out in New England, do you guys go out to Blue Hill Ave or excuse me, Blue Hill Reservation? Do you guys know of any other place that you guys like to go to? Maybe someplace a little bit closer. I mean, there is quite a few reservations and a few hiking areas. Probably not going to have a lot of variations with the height and things like that, but otherwise, there are a number of hiking spots. Again, very small paths. Some of them might even take like an hour, 30 minutes to do. But if you guys have any places that you like going to, or maybe some routines that you guys follow, maybe you run around the park. We'd like to hear what you guys like to do. And like I said, because Cruz and I like doing adventures when we're traveling. You know, getting a little bit physically in shape definitely helps you prepare for the some of the stuff that's out there, especially when you start increasing in elevation, or if you're swimming or scuba diving. Being obviously in a little bit good physical shape will help your body move more efficiently, especially with things like hiking. Once you start getting to the higher elevations, it does help, having endurance, but it's also having a lot of strength in the legs, actually the whole body, having a lot of strength in the whole body just to, maintain stability and things like that. Because you don't realize it, like with hiking, you end up using a lot of like abs, you know, because you have to reposition your body in different ways, like using different muscle groups.
Abs, core, back, shoulders, everything.
Yeah.
Especially
So
you got a pack on you, everything about it.
yeah.
And it's not about like being in shape, just like to look great on the camera. It's just about being generally staying active, general fitness level, so you can go out and enjoy these activities and actually enjoy them and not have them be a strain, like you said, whether it's scuba diving or hiking or going out snorkeling or swimming, just being able to get out and do those different things.
Mhm.
There's a lot of great views, that require a little bit of a hike up. Maybe it's a little off trail, different areas, depending wherever you are, that maybe you might not be able to see. So it's definitely a great thing. And I mean, it's great for you overall. You just your mental state, your mood, everything.
Mm. Yeah, I always find that the Sundays, since we've been hiking the last couple of weeks, doing the Sunday hiking, hiking activity, I find that it really kind of sets my mood for the beginning of the week, for Monday, where Monday rolls around and just, I don't know, I'm just high on life. Like, oh yeah, I feel good. It was a fun
Yeah.
time. And like I said, I haven't seen John in, God, it must have been at least over a year. So that was even,
Probably, yeah.
yeah, that was a huge gift to be able to see him. It's like, oh great, this is cool. We have a trio.
Yeah, and it's up right now. I mean, it's a little chilly out here, but it's a great activity to, if you're looking for something to do, somebody out there, you're worried about, getting together and just going over to some people's houses because you're worried about COVID or whatever, call them up, get together outside, go for a hike somewhere. You're outside, wind's moving around, probably a lot, get a little activity in, chat while you're going. It's it's an overall, it's a really, really great thing. I love hiking. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say enough about it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I think it's, the being able to chat with somebody, because like there's moments during the hiking where like we're just not even talking. Just, we'll have like our spurts of blah blah blah, and then the next part is just kind of zoning out, and there's no hard rule, or you know everyone goes at their own pace, but everyone stays together, and I think it makes it more comfortable just to be able to do that.
but overall, right now, I'm going to be honest though. While it was fine outside with the cold and the hiking and everything, I'm kind of done with the cold. I could use a little. I could use a little sunshine, a little sun. I was actually Pat was talking to me earlier. One of our other buddies that'll be traveling with us and everything. I was the one that I was in Croatia with. Um, just talking about sometime early February now. Uh, Going somewhere just quick, just 10 days somewhere, something like that, just to get a little sun, go out a little bit on the weekend, be able to jump in, go for a swim and stuff, just get a little bit of that, sunshine, vitamin D, warm weather going on. The hiking's great and everything. Love it. Getting out, being active, going to the gym. But the sunset at 4:30, 5 o'clock, the cold and everything, like, yeah, I could use a little different outdoor activity. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully we square something away and get out for a little bit. I'll have to figure out how to maintain the routine while gone. But that's always something. Probably be able to talk about it. How what's a good decent workout routine? How you maintain stuff while you're traveling. I mean, if you're at a place for a long time, you can probably find a gym or somewhere. But if you don't, what are you doing? You're running outside, you're running on the beach, doing some calisthenics. So yeah, you got to just figure out other different activities to do
Mm.
when that's going on. But you can still make a workout. You got to be inventive. You got to figure out different exercises and different things, but you can definitely still manage it.
Yeah, I think one of the key thing that you brought up yesterday was being around people. Like if you go to a gym, one of the ways that stay motivated is like, oh, you see other people there. You see other people there that are already, that are religious, going to the gym and things like that. They're in great shape. Um, those are great ways to stay motivated. When there's someone that's out there that's doing, not necessarily doing the same thing, but they're out there getting in shape. And I think this applies to just everything, right? It's not just exercising, right? So if you see, like, if you go out to the beach, if you go out hiking, I always find that because everyone's together, or you see other people out there, that we're not alone on trying to stay motivated, or because if you think about it, like, other people are going through the same type of struggles that we are, despite everyone's at different stages in whatever part of their life. But one of the things that's the same for everybody is that everyone's going through the same problems, same issues, same motivational issues. And so we always have to try to look for ways that can help ourselves and help others, stay motivated in a lot of these different activities. And whether it's like going to a different place, like where there's a lot of sunshine and stuff like that. That's one of the ways to stay motivated, because it is a different setting. It is different from kind of the routine when it's like, oh, it's cold out here, and then spending just a week or two, out at a different place, just kind of recharges the batteries, just to do stuff.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly what it is. Definitely just need that little recharge before the late March, April kind of time hits and head out for a while. While it's not a long ways away at all. I mean, I'm not gonna turn down an opportunity to go for like a week or 10 days and get a little sunny weather and everything just as a recharge at all. Like that actually would be perfect right now. So
Oh,
we're checking out places. I mean, there's a shot at Fort Lauderdale, depending on the timing of who, where, when we go down. We'll see. I'm not quite sure yet. What do we got?
Oh, just
This week ending 29, 30, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we'll see.
hey, just FYI. So yesterday, after I got back from the hiking, I've been trying to get a hold of Airbnbs down in Fort Lauderdale, and they're filling up. Seems like there's people out and about because I've had a really tough time trying to lock in a place for just a day.
Yeah,
So
I mean, we talked about it. Fort Lauderdale is, I mean, honestly, the Airbnbs there aren't that cheap.
no, they're
Like
not.
I mean, compared to a hotel stay or something down there, still a great price, but you're not getting, like, it's not South America prices, that's for sure.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah.
is not, it is not, it's not super cheap. Like, you're paying a little bit for some places and stuff. People are getting antsy. I think, people are heading out. To actually, they might start be booking and filling up too. I mean, I don't know if people will be going down for like a long stretch, but like the Super Bowl's down in Tampa on the 7th, it should be, because they're off this upcoming weekend. So they'll be down in Tampa on the 7th.
Mm.
So I don't know if people are doing a little Fort Lauderdale. I know some people that, like one girl that I met in Croatia, she's been down in Fort Lauderdale a fair little bit. So it seems like people are jumping down there, going for a week, going for 2 weeks, going out, getting some sunshine. It's definitely a real popular spot right now.
Mm. Oh, here's another thing too. So I was just checking flights, and flights have gone up a little bit. Actually,
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't say a little bit, a lot of it. So keep your eye on the prices for flights, because I looked at flights for return to the U.S., and it's jumped up to like 300, over 300.
really?
Yeah. So maybe things are changing, or you know I know I saw one flight that was like 280, but I haven't seen that. I haven't seen prices like that in a long time. So I got a little used to those lower prices.
Yeah, might just be a tough stretch. Not sure why they'd be jumping up, particularly Ecuador back and forth. I don't see that skyrocketing yet. I could see the Florida peaking up right now. It's kind of that, especially going into February, maybe some, February vacation stretches. You got some Super Bowl down there. So you got a little bit of stuff going on this upcoming.
Yeah, it's probably like in the moment of time. Like right now, there's a lot of
Yeah,
people buying
if you
flights.
got other flights for other weeks starting to creep up, it kind of, it kind of bleeds into other weeks before and in front of it as
Mm.
well.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, so we might just be getting some of that a little bit.
yeah. So, like I said, I'll be keeping an eye on it, obviously, because I do have to get my return flight at some point. So I just noticed that, like I said today, I was like, wow, kind of unusual that the prices were much higher than usual. So anyone out there thinking about flying, maybe if you want to spend a little bit more money on flights because of all the activity that's going on, and as Cruz described, that because of the Super Bowl and whatever else, that
Yeah.
people could just be down there, and it's causing the prices of flights just go up a little bit.
Yeah, like I said, I've known a few people and passed on a few people. Like a lot of people are heading down to the Florida area, Fort Lauderdale, all around that, just to get out for a little while, get a little sun, get out, enjoy themselves for a little bit. So it's definitely a thing going on right now. So I can see the prices creeping up. So we'll have to pay attention to that. The only thing about like the quick trip is I definitely plan on staying stateside. I don't plan on leaving the country, dealing with the extra flight, longer distance and everything just for a 10-day stretch.
Mm.
It's not that worth it, in my opinion. If I'm only going for that, I want to try and get a shorter flight, um, just to make the overall process a little bit easier. I don't feel like dealing with all the extras just for like, 7, 10 days or so, whether
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a PCR test or this, pick one right now.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a headache, and there's definitely a little bit of stress with getting the results. Um, it's there's no way of telling, right? Because they're like, oh yeah, they need for a lot of places, you need 3 days or 72 hours before arriving. But they're like, oh, it takes about 2 to 5 days to get the results. It's like that doesn't help anybody, So again, how they come up with the numbers for
Yeah.
these tests doesn't make any sense. Honestly, my opinion is that Ecuador has it right. They give you 10 days to get the results for a test, which is very optimal and to me realistic, especially since is a large variance of when the results can come in. So
Colombia for tourists, which was a little bit of a hot spot for locals, is that incoming tourists for a lot of places actually don't need a PCR test. You can actually just fly into Colombia. Everything's kind of locked up, but tourists can fly in without the PCR. Makes me, in an odd way, extremely confident that come that February 28th, we're going to start getting the notification of like, okay, we're opening things back up. We got to see how it goes. And it's going to start moving forward, because if they're catering for tourists flying in that manner, they know they need to kind of jumpstart that influx of people. They wouldn't just be doing that casually if they didn't need people to start coming in.
well, it just I look at it and do we need another year of lockdowns? I mean, is that good for anybody?
I mean, even for the staunchest person, right? There's a breaking point for everybody, even for the staunchest person.
Yeah, and
And there's definitely a breaking point for economies. While I know like the US can manage and we can handle and we can recover, because of what we already have in place, it's not necessarily the case everywhere, right?
yeah, and Penny Pincher has a question here. Do you guys read anything about international flight quarantining requirements since Biden's been in office? Uh,
No
the
changes yet.
Yeah, the only thing is the assumption of the lockdown, further lockdowns. But again, nothing set in stone yet, so we can't really, you know, we can't really come up with anything until there's some definitive answer that comes out there.
Yeah, it's all assumption. It's all assumptions and tone more than anything concrete.
Yeah. So, I mean, once we hear something or find something, we'll obviously let everybody know because that affects what we're doing, obviously. So, um, but we'll keep everyone informed in regards to that, because that is a very important, obviously a very important aspect of being able to get out and do stuff. Because yeah, we're talking about being able to travel and people going out to Florida, but if there's restrictions on quarantining, then the possibility of leaving starts to diminish pretty quickly. But nothing yet so far. I think based on stuff like Airbnbs being full in Fort Lauderdale and flight prices going up, to me those are good signs that the restrictions for travel are maybe starting to
Yeah.
relax a little bit.
Good signs for Florida. They're
Good,
getting
yeah, good signs for Florida.
good signs
Um,
for Florida. They're getting quite the influx still, right?
yeah, but as far as like having that be, a reason to know what's going on with about quarantines, I would say no. It's just like, oh, it just gives me a little bit more confidence, right? Like, oh, okay, people are going out, flights are higher. Obviously, we don't want flights to be higher, but at least that gives you some idea that there is a demand for buying tickets to fly out somewhere. So that's so take it for what it is. It's just one variable in the larger picture of what's going on. But who knows? I mean, this week, something could just change.
Yeah.
That would completely screw up whatever I just did today with getting
It's
my
why
visa.
that's one of the big things is we're waiting as well, not only the countries there, but
Mm,
any restrictions that are placed for us to get out or potentially back in to the country. While getting back in, I don't foresee any potential issue, while there may be a quarantine, sure, I'll go to my house. Great. Thank you. Come check on me. Sure.
Yeah.
But for the leaving, I don't see it. I see the leaving still being wide open. It'll be the country that you're landing in, the country of entry there, that might have some say in it. But I don't see anything with the leaving coming into place. But that's also me, I'm being optimistic because I'm ready to go. So that I keep that in mind, is that that's my opinion, only because I'm also staying very optimistic because I'm very excited to get out and start traveling.
Yeah, and a lot of like I spoke to my mother a couple of weeks ago in regards to traveling and went to buy a flight. I recommended, you can go as late as a month before, before the actual trip, just because the possibility of the prices, being lower, but also, like I said, it's a moving target, so you don't want to go too ahead of, go 2 or 3 months, booking flights and things like that, and having to find out you have to, you know, make changes. The great thing is, if someone does decide, or someone does decide to travel out, the 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 airlines have been very lax about changing flights, considering the situation that everybody's in, and I haven't had much trouble at all rescheduling flights. Um,
No issue at all.
yeah,
I
so
sorry, I changed flights. I changed flights the day before.
I, I did the same as well.
I changed flight the day before, and it was, whatever, you pay the differential, but the change fee, everything was real great. So
Yeah. Um, so we're 1 minute over the hour. Appreciate the question. Any closing comments, Cruz, as far as what we talked about today, or any other views on things that are going on?
nah, it's cold here. Stay active while you can. Get out while you can. Go see your friends, your family, your loved ones if you can. That's about it. Don't just go see them. Go visit people. Go enjoy your life.
Well, I think that's a good closing statement. So thank you guys very much for joining us. We'll have more things to unpack for the following week. As I said, I'm getting the written document for my process that I went through with traveling to Ecuador to get that extended visa, and I'm obviously going to have an update kind of later on when I arrive there and speak to the customs person, excuse me, immigration person, um, officer out there. But I won't know